Hey everyone, Lauren here. We're going to work on some Project Life. Today I've got a little 9x12 spread, which means that they're all 3x3 cards or 3x4? 3x4 cards. Oh my god, I'm crazy. And then I'm just using the printables. So I have the Project Life pocket page cards that Deb has created for us, and I've just made a selection out of these ones and have put them in my pockets and are working on this birthday layout. So this year and many years we line up the hallway with a trail of birthday presents, so when you wake up you find your presents and can open them one by one, or you hide them, I hide them I should say, hide them in the lounge room, dining room, kitchen kind of area. So this year was a hidey year, and you can see in this photo at the above he opened the dishwasher and he found a present, and at the bottom photo he has opened it to discover it's a book. So these photos are just that kind of story in terms of where things were located and opening presents and stuff. He's so quick because he's so excited, and he's a ball of energy anyway. So all these photos aren't superb, so hence why they're put into a Project Life, and some are a bit smaller and whatnot to just have a bit of a play around. Actually, this Project Life page is a 9x12 one, but it actually has 2 4x6s, not all 3x4s like I just said. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to stick on this label and added some journaling and then this little banner, and then I've got these little fun little punched out gold glittered and other coloured glitter stars and hearts, just using a little Fisker hand punch so that I can add some little embellishments on there. So I'm just putting them to the side there and having a look at what other embellishments I can layer up. I'm going to work on this big label, which is a previous Project Life card, and you can see that chopped off bit I'd punched some shapes out, and I used it on the first layout that I created this month, where I used circle punch to make flower shaped embellishments, and I've kept that leftover piece because of the colour was really lovely, but also the label. And so I'm going to overhang this label on the side so that it just looks really fun when things are overhung on the side of the layout or the card, and sort of looks like it's more meant to be rather than not. So I've just pulled out an alpha stamp, and I am going to spell out birthday just because I had moved some things around and it reminded me to use some stamps. So this month in my prep video had thought about the type of photos, and then also the things like the punches and the alphabet stamps that I wanted to use out of my stash, and also gelatos. So they feature heavily in some of my projects. So just quick little stamp, nothing too crazy. I'm not worrying about being too straight or anything because that will take way too long, and also does my head in because it is so hard to do, especially if you're hand stamping. I'm sure it's much easier if you're using one of those stamping platforms, but I do not want... I've invested so much money in stamps that I barely use that I don't really want to buy a stamping platform, but maybe that is the answer to using more. I'm not too sure. So just zoomed out a bit so you can see, but I'm just cutting some of these things out of the main embellishment printable, and I'm just going to put this one up here as a little circle embellishment with a balloon on it, and it's going to rest in the middle of the title. And this is sort of like one of those week 22 or whatever week you're doing title card for the layout, but it's obviously not a week, it's a day, it's a photo. But I Project Life and scrapbook in my albums monthly, so I don't worry too much about week and whatnot, and dates. Actually, it's in chronological order as much as possible, but I don't worry about weekly. I don't have enough going on. So while I was just rabbiting on, then I saw one of the tab stickers where you can overlap it on the front and then on the back, and you then have a little tab, and I stuck that to the outside of the page protector, and I'm cut out these 2 little tickets that I'm going to overlap and add to this. It just needed something before I added some journaling, so that's going to be there. So I'm going to work on a little cluster on the right here on this card, and then on the left I will add some journaling just about the story that I told you in terms of the tradition that we do with presents. So you can see how quickly these little embellishments that come on the printable sheets work together really so quickly and easily. Just using a Sharpie to journal, and then I made a mistake down there, and then there was a lot of space in terms of my journaling didn't fill the space. So to cover up the word that I made a mistake with and to fill up that empty space, I just used part of the I kind of guess it's a border strip or a washi strip or a faux washi strip, I guess, and the printable, and overlapped it on the bottom and then up the top. So it's pretty fun to have a play with your sizes of your photos as well. That one was printed as a 3x4, but it really didn't need to be that big. And if I cut it down like this, basically maybe like a 2.5x2 kind of size, I then have space underneath for embellishments or journaling or a title, anything that I want to add rather than it all being photo. And I think it's really nice to have a play with balancing that out and having, you know, even if it's just one photo that's a little bit smaller, just something that draws your eye to it in a different way, and means that you can use up some of your stash or some of your kit because you've given yourself space and permission to do so. And look at this whole page of florals. What a great part of the kit and part of the printables. Just quickly fussy cut, doesn't take too long. I know I've sped it up, but even then it doesn't take that long to just quickly cut it out. I add a little bit of I leave a bit of a white border so that it doesn't look like the shape is misshapen by my awful cutting, and just add in a little leaf so that you get the full picture that it's a flower, just in case you don't know that it's a flower by the flower shape. Apparently. What a ridiculous statement, Lauren. So, you can see it's my son's layout. I put flowers on it. I don't care about any of those, I guess. I was going to say gender norms, but they're not gender norms. Gender stereotypes about florals are only for girl layouts and blah, blah, blah. They're pretty. We love them. It's all good. And anyway, it is about the design and about the layout and the fun rather than what should be or shouldn't be. So just another quick journaling spot. It's so easy to just add journaling with little labels, and actually this is quite a journal heavy Project Life layout for me. There's already 3 spots of journaling. It's not always something that I do. This one here, I really like that strip of white in the middle, or to the lower bottom, I guess, middle lower bottom. And it's just the perfect size, especially if you cut down your photo to fit your photo in, and highlight it, I guess, and you're not covering up all the colour that's happening on the card. So I did play around with perhaps doing it overlapping the white and the colour strip, but decided against it. Just a quick outline with my texter, my Sharpie. And then I pulled out these little alphas and decide to spell out sleep. Did I spell out sleep or wake up? Wake up. And this is a bad photo, but a photo nonetheless of my son climbing out of his bunk bed. At this stage, he was obviously sleeping up the top of the bunk. And then I just repeat stamped it. So these little stamps are like typewriter font, and I just stamping it around, being careful not to stamp it on my photo. Really, I suggest doing this before you stick your photo down. Like, that was 100% silly of me, but it worked out in the end. I just took some of the letters off and stamped it like it was over the edge and covered by the edge of the photo. So that's fun. That's something Dearly Dee often does on her channel. But it was a fun way to get stamps on and figure some more words on the page, but also a bit different than just the one word or the two words like the title up the top. So I cut this little embellishment out before to use on one of the cards, but I thought it didn't go, so instead I left it on this page in case I thought it could work. So I just stapled that down with my tiny attacher, and then I'm cutting out this embellishment, which is a little bit different, but they're both, I guess, little tabs, or not tabs, tabs, yeah, maybe the word's tabs. Different ways of being, well, they're just similar but different embellishments in the fact of shape. So I'm just going to, again, tiny attach that down so that there's that bit of cohesiveness. And I pull out my gelatos. So I was talking before about having fun with gelatos and stamps that I pulled out of my stash to use rather than them just being hidden away. And I just sprayed a little bit of water on and putting that gelato around on the layout with my finger. Quick heat gun to dry it. And literally this is photo paper. It's just Kmart photo paper that I have purchased. You get 150 pieces for $15 or $10. It depends. Sometimes it scans at 15 and sometimes it scans at 10. And the shelf always says 15. And I was surprised that the paper didn't peel or anything underneath where the gelato was going at all. So that was a nice surprise. So pretty fun. It's always fun to add a little bit of mixed media to your Project Life pages. It's something that kind of gets forgotten because you're adding so much already sometimes, but also mixed media seems like such a big ordeal when you get everything out and get a bit messy. But this one was quite easy. All I had to do was wipe my finger afterwards because all I did was spray the water, add the colour, and then mix it around. So I didn't use any other tools. I didn't get anything else dirty. So that was a quick and easy way to use mixed media for sure. So this one's going to use a circle label and then I guess I don't know what kind of shape this is. It's sort of like a cross between a circle and a label shape, and then which is quite fun. And it's got a nice little phrase on it. A bit more journaling, because apparently, even though the story is that we hide presents and he found them, I managed to fit a lot of journaling on. Just roughly cut out this coloured leaf, and I'm going to add it up there. The colour went really nicely, but also it was a nice little embellishment without it being another flower again. And a word I like. These collages I've made in, sometimes I make them in the Project Life app, but sometimes I make them in, my selfie is only connected to my phone. I can't get it to connect to my laptop anymore, but because it is connected to my phone, I use the Canon print app, which has a few different choices of how to collage your photos together. It's not as customizable as the Project Life app, but it makes some fun things nonetheless. So just quickly roughly cutting out, not rough, well I guess they called it kind of roughly cutting them out because I add the border, but just cutting out some embellishments to add. I know my son's birthday's in March, so I know that this was a no-brainer that it happened in March, so I could add the word embellishment. I can't always add the word embellishment because haven't been always organised in terms of where the layout fits in the month or which album and whatnot to know that properly, and that probably horrifies some people, and it's not the best way, but sometimes getting scrapping done is getting scrapping done, and that's what I'm focusing on. So again, with the stamps, this time just using a roller phrase stamp. I added one of those embellishments up on some fun foam, and I'm going to add a whole pile of different phrases from this roller phrase stamp and another one, and add it down the edge of that card. So just putting them away in my pocket, and of course I didn't cut them all straight or cut off the things that are overlapping, so I quickly did that so that I could fit them in. And then I'm going to show you a close-up so that you can see how the layout came together. And hopefully It inspires you to get your printables, your exclusive printables, printed to add to your kit and enjoy your products. So, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.